Dang. Da 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 dang dang dang. All right, let's see if that works. He said that it was something, and even Gigi, she comes in here because she likes to help out, and the moderators were just going, "Hey, whoa, whoa, whoa." So I'm sorry, I pushed the wrong button, and I set. I guess I just put whatever something that I had last night. I'm sorry. So let's get back into it. We had 100 and something people in the room, and we're going to just blow it up. I know that we are, because this is super cool about how they were warned about the wives of Canaan and the women of Canaan and Babylon, how they were told never to take wives from there. And that's exactly what Ishmael did. I'm sorry, I reset the thing. I reset some kind of button I pushed wrong, but that's what they do when they help. I came in here and pushed a button, and they were saying you pushed the wrong one. So, y'all, they have to push the buttons for me. They tell me I'm the old dog and I get to talk. So, we've got our time going now, and we're starting to get back into the room, and I certainly appreciate y'all all joining me on this quest. And if y'all go to my study guides and download it, it's right there on my bio page. So go to my bio page, go to my link tree, and download the study guide for tonight's study guide. And it really is, when we start talking, it's going to be this book of Jubilees right here, chapter 20. So that's what we're going to the study guide to download. And this is really good. This is my copies of it where I underline through here. And this is where he told them to take the right wives and all. But he mentions all the giants down here, the daughters of Canaan, and the judgment of the giants. Oh, this is going to get good. It's on page 1. And this is a real short chapter. So just know that I don't think that this one is going to take that long. And then we can just get unhinged on the 7 seals and the short season. And we've just got such great information on the short season, the 7 seals of the apocalypse. We've got every 1,000 years. And that's just such a fun topic because now it's starting to whittle down so good that we know we're right here in 2025, and we know that the rest of the dead yet live again right there. We were learning that last night. It is Jubilees chapter 20 tonight. Thank y'all for joining me. I got all the buttons pushed, I think, correctly so that I didn't set something wrong. And if y'all will go download the study guide, which is right there on my link tree, we'll get started with tonight's lesson since I messed up everything and I got it on the wrong page. Hang on one second. I'm going to show you right where to go get it. If you'll go to my link tree right there and go to my bio page, then go to my link tree right there, this will pop up and you can download the study guide right there. Here's the thing. When it does pop up, right in the top corner, it hits subscribe. Y'all subscribe and it'll give me your email address. And it's Friday. After Thursday night's class, we're going to download everything onto the internet, YouTube and what have you, and then we're going to send out an email which has all types of attachments and what have you, and we're going to do that off of that subscription list right there. It gives me your email on my link tree. Now remember, when you go to my bio page, go to my link tree right there. Those are all the things. Those are cool pictures, man. All of that stuff is on the public domain too. So feel free to copy my work and those pictures that are in it. They're over 150 years old, so you can use them. That's in all my work. I want you to be able to copy all of my work and all of my pictures and use them. But if you'll go to my link tree right there, and then you can download this. And tomorrow night, there's the study guide for tomorrow night. And it's another amazing chapter of the New Testament Apocrypha, the Acts of Pilate. And be sure to subscribe while you're in there. I think it only is email address that you need to get into that. But there's some really cool pictures in there. The giants being chained, the judgment of the giants. That's what Enoch. I hope I got the button. If I got the button pushed right, I won't touch it again, AJ, promise. And it's the judgment of the giants, man. And Enoch, when he told them that you can never go home again and all, the giants went to go cause great harm, and that's when Enoch got taken up. New here, what is the Book of Jubilees? The Book of Jubilees, I've got something for you. It is one of the most documented books I'm so glad it was right there, that picture. The Dead Sea Scrolls were found right after the Second World War, and they found caves full of documents that had scrolls in them. So this is right after the Second World War, and this is right in 1946. And everybody in the world sent their own archaeological team, like Indiana Jones, and they all went to the Dead Sea to find these hidden biblical documents because they really thought they were going to find the Ark of the Covenant and Solomon's gold and all that stuff. So they all just dived into the Dead Sea Scrolls, these caves. They were finding them. They were just waiting, go, man, it's right outside of Jerusalem, and it's right there on the Dead Sea. And it made such a great adventure. And what they ended up finding was a bunch of Bible books. And they found out that, man, they had been in that cave for thousands of years, and they were read the same way the Bible books do. So Genesis read the same it does, Exodus read the same it does, and the rest of the books of the Old Testament that were found in the cave. But right along next to Genesis and Exodus was the book of Jubilees and the book of Enoch 1. And as a matter of fact, the top 4 found scrolls in the Dead Sea Scrolls were Genesis, Jubilees, Exodus, and Enoch 1. Those were the 4 big rolls. There were like 13 of one and 17 of the most. So they were in the big 4. So just know that every continent on the face of this earth sent somebody to verify that those documents were correct and from thousands of years ago, and they all said, yeah. The trick is the church decided that you didn't need to see the book of Jubilees because it says some things in there that conflicted with what they did. Like they built a church. And you remember when Jesus came and said, tear this whole place down? That's because I got my Ethiopian Bible today. And let me see, I'll show you. I went to go check. I said, hey, all right, let me see. So you go in here. Let me click this other picture. You go right here. It's the Book of Jubilees. This is in the Ethiopian Bible. And this is the big first thing that you should check. And it says, and God spake to Moses and said, come up on the mountain, and I will give you 2 tablets of the stone and the law, which I have written, that thou may teach them. That's a big one. Who's the author? God. I have written that you may teach man. So the church goes, we spend a lot of time determining the canon of documents. And you're like going, okay, well, every archaeological team in the world just determined that this was a valid document, and it says that God wrote it, and then Moses came down the mountain with it, and that in the 10 Commandments. And the 10 Commandments, that's just a wonderful story. But it says right here on the next page, I say the next page. It's chapter 32, verse 22, and it says right there, do not build this place. Man, that's Jacob right there. They're talking to Jacob, the angel that named him Israel, which means struggles with God, told him, bro, right there, do not build this place. Well, I'm going to tell you what the church did. The church sent a guy named R.H. Charles. You know how they said that they were going to not change AI and the big beautiful bill or whatever, they were not going to change AI for 10 years or something? Okay, well, let me tell you what AI is doing right now. They sent a guy, the church did. They sent a Mason named R.H. Charles in 1913 to Ethiopia to get copies of the Book of Jubilees and Enoch, and he translated them in 1913. And in the part where it says right here in 32:22, go check AI, and it will not give you the Dead Sea Scroll translations. It'll most likely give you the R.H. Charles translation, which it reads exactly like the Bible, where Jacob ends up stacking a pillar of stones. Now think about that. It says in the Bible, don't ever raise a pillar. Thou shalt not raise a pillar. And that's exactly what he did, was raised a pillar. And he stacked those stones. That's a stone stacking mason right there. But anyway, it says thou shalt not raise a pillar. And it's real important to know that when you're reading the Dead Sea Scrolls, and it told them, I know why you took this out of the book. One, it had the calendar down perfectly, a 364-day calendar. If you were born on a Tuesday, you would have been born on a Tuesday every year. So this is a copy of the Ethiopian Bible. I've got some other things to check into some of the other, what they call Apocrypha, but it has Enoch, it has Jubilees, and I'm going to see what all it has and verify that. And if it all lines up pretty good, it is a 2-inch thick book of just nothing but words. I mean, it bore you to death. But I tell you what it did do. It added validity to everything that I'm reading to you. And it was this main part that I think that we all ought to pay attention to. And it was right here. And let me get my head out of the way and put my glasses on. And God spake to Moses and said, Come up to me on the mountain, and I will give thee 2 tablets of stone and the law and of the commandment which I have written, that thou may teach. I can't see under that thing. That thou may teach them. And I hated to stutter, but whenever that stuff, I want to read it word for word. It's very important. That I have written. This is God. God spoke to Moses and said, which I have written. I'm going to tell you something. He wrote that. He wrote the commandments and the tables of stone. The 10 commandments and this commandment. And I'm going to tell you something. In the earlier translations and all, they changed all that stuff. And, Moses, he wrote the first 5 books of the Bible, the Torah. And that's the first 5 books of the Bible. And they took that, wrote, it is the Torah, and it is the first 5 books of the Holy Bible. And the Quran is basically the first 5 books of the Bible. And Moses wrote them, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy, whatever. And Genesis means the beginning, and Exodus means the end, okay? And then Leviticus is just because Moses was a Levi, and he was we held a whole story about that. But the beginning and the end, that's what Genesis means and Exodus means. So at the end of the end, it said, thou shalt not murder. Right, okay. And then in the 3rd chapter, Leviticus, it has 30 things or 30-something things that you can do, and they can administer the death penalty. Now, this is Moses' writings. And Jesus came to the Pharisees when they were getting ready to crucify him and said, Moses gave you the law, yet you still seek to kill me. And that meant that Moses gave them the 10 commandments that said, thou shalt not kill. And sure enough, you seek to kill me. And it's because y'all have written laws around that. And y'all now call yourself the lawyers of the day, which were taught the law. And it's ironic that one of the oldest law schools is Oxford Law School. And John Wycliffe was the first one to translate the Bible from vulgar Latin into English so that we could read it. And they say he died on stage, but they murdered him and then got mad, dug him up after he was dead and burned his bones and scattered them in a river. And hello, do not run. Why is Jesus a call? I love the fact that the Dead Sea Scrolls have been so validated by everybody. They all came to see that the Dead Sea Scrolls were real. And this is one of the documents, the Book of Jubilees. They had the gall to call it the Lesser Genesis. And we all know, anybody that's been in this class, this is the 20th class. Every Wednesday, we don't miss one. I've got the best teams in here. There's a couple of hundred of you that are my subscribers and on my team, and we don't miss a Wednesday, do we? I see all these names, Karen, Cheryl. I see y'all. Y'all are my teams. They're my prayer warriors. If somebody gets out of line, man, I'll get out of here, and my wife and my son will go, man, they were tearing this guy up, man. He started talking all that stuff about there was no J, and where'd you get Jesus from, and all that stuff. And those are just hilarious cuts, man. I mean, when people take off with that. But my old crew, man, they hit them before I can even see them, and they know that I've got this like ADD or whatever it is because I can't read the comments and say, hey, look, a squirrel. So it's real important to know what I bought my pearl on was the fact that I bought this pearl on the fact that God wrote those documents. And people walking around grabbing their Bible, thumping that thing, saying, man, this is the Word of God. It is the inspired Word of God, and it is usable for teaching and rebuking, which is correcting. And that's what Jesus was doing with the Bible. He was like, oh, Moses gave you the law, man. You still seek to kill me. And it's like, if God's got a problem, he's going to fix it. He didn't say, oh, yeah, in chapter 3, write down all these things you can do, and the other people can kill you and judge you and all. He never said that. It says the 10 Commandments, thou shalt not kill. And then Jesus boiled it down to 2 commandments. And he was asked by a lawyer, which is somebody that studies all these laws, and they didn't even know half of what they should have. And they would have known the book or any of that stuff. They would have told Solomon, hey, it says right here in the book, don't go to Egypt and get many horses, and don't collect many wives, and don't gather much gold. And it's almost like he was going, Do you know all the rules? Yeah, jot them down for me, please. Well, because I'm going to Egypt. I'm going to have 700 wives. How about 300 girlfriends? Add that, little cherry on top there. And then we're going to have, got a lot of gold. I want a lot of gold. How about 666 talents of gold from each of y'all, or the beatings will continue until morale improves. Get it? I want my 666 talents of gold. That's a talent of 75 pounds, man. So boy was rolling big, man. That's what he was charging the people to go. You can be whatever you want to be, man. You can do whatever you want to do. Give me my stuff. And then it says, don't ever return to Egypt. Boy rolls on down to Egypt, man. All them guys that went down to Egypt, trouble, man. He says, never go back to Egypt. And those were the lawyers of the day. They should have known that, but they didn't. And Jesus said, the lawyers asked him, they said, what is the great law? And Jesus said, I tell you, love God in heaven above with all thy heart and all thy soul and all thy mind. And the second commandment is like unto it, love thy neighbor as thyself. Upon this hang all the laws and all the prophets. So Jesus told the lawyers, all your laws hang on love God and love your neighbor as yourself. And if you do that, you won't want to steal from him or murder him or do any of the things that are in the Ten Commandments. You will just literally love each other. And if something is the matter, trust me, God will take care of it. Because if you make God mad, you'll like wake up dead, and your dog will be dead too. And he'll kill your canary. All of it. Because that's how they take care of things, and that's how they were instructed to take care of things. And the people asked for a king, and God was like, y'all know a king told Samuel the seer. They asked a witch doctor, hey, man, your sons are judges. The whole book of Judges is about Samuel's sons, and they were doing terrible, terrible things. And the people said, hey, man, your boys are just like off the chain here. Can we get a king? Because the other people have a king, and a king is cool, and we want a king. So he goes and talks to God and says, hey, man, do people want a king? And God says, well, you tell them that a king will take away their people and take away their properties and put their daughters to work and put their husband, the sons in the army. Going to bring great misery. So we went and told him, he said, hey, man, I know what y'all said. Y'all wanted a king, but God said that he's going to do all these terrible things to you. And they said, yeah, we want a king. So he granted them a king, and Samuel anointed the king, and the first king was for 40 years, Saul. And then David was anointed underneath him for 40 years. He was the king. And then Solomon was his son for 40 years. They were all kings for 40 years. And that's a time of testament and judgment and all that stuff. And God had told him, said, man, you don't want a king, bro. He's going to do terrible things. And sure enough, man, David's hands were too bloody to even build the temple. So I think it's cool that they all ruled for 40 years exactly. 1, 2, 3 in the Bible. You can tell me that's like swinging the bat 3 times. That's like, strike. Okay, 40 more years. All right. Whack. Oh, man, what did we do wrong? 40 more years. Whack. That's like that coach at the end of practice, man. 40 more laps. What do y'all go? You're knucklehead. Y'all got a new king? Yeah, y'all didn't. Not listening. They said, do not build this place. The angels got it right there. The angels said, do not build this place. Your knucklehead dad thought that this was his son, you, jackwagon, and that's why you built your palace on top of the mountain of God, Zion, over there. And by the way, you spent twice as long doing that as you spent building my temple, which is 110 feet down lower on Mount Moriah. By the way, I live on Mount Zion. I'm God. But you live up there. Never mind me. The temple for God, it's down there, 110 foot down, and it is the footstool to you, David, and then Solomon, and then all of the people that are, okay, that's where y'all put me, down there, 110 foot down on Moriah, my palace. Okay. And you live on Mount Zion? Yeah. You know, you wrote in the book that you hate the lame and the blind that are hated of your soul. No, man, I just never grasped it from the church. And Greg, you are such a great, you know what? I'm just telling the way that it is, man. They said that you'd never take Jerusalem and the lame and the blind could stop you. And he goes, go up there, slay the lame and the blind, which are hated of David's soul. And then he sneaks in through the water gate. And that's a funny thing. And the same who doesn't come through the front door, the same as a robber and a thief. And David, man, he rolled right into that. And you can see he's the pale horse of death. and because his hands were too bloody to build the temple, and his hell followed with him, and his son followed and built the temple. And David, Saul had his thousands, and David had his 10,000s. So that totally puts David, right there in the thing. I'll do that real quick. Y'all want to do the little timeline list real quick, because I can just bust that up. I think it's great. I think it's a great little thing, and I'm sending that out. It'll be in my study guides that I send out on Friday. If y'all go subscribe and give me your email address and all, I'm going to send this to you. And real quick, I said that David, he's that pale horse of war. Let's break these 7 seals real quick. I'll show you right where we are. It won't take but a minute for me to run through these. Remember, a day is like 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is like a day. Put a check mark or something in here if you got my study guide about the 7 seals, because this wasn't it. I made that study guide, and then this hit right here. And that study guide goes through, tells you about a day is like 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is like a day, and it's like yesterday to God. And that's what happens. Anytime you see the white horse, Revelation 19, when the rider on the white horse descends with the crown and all this stuff, just know that that's God in heaven above. That's creation, and that's the beginning of creation right here, and that's Adam. Starting off with the white horse and the first seal. So they break that, and Adam is given a bow and the crowns of many, and the bow he's given is the protection of God, the rainbow, and it doesn't say a bow and arrows, it says a bow, and that is protection, and it says go out and conquer what you can conquer, and that means to take over and add dominion to the world, and that's exactly what he was doing. He was protected by the bow of God, the rainbow. And then what happened was 1,000 years later, the second seal, or the watchers, descended during the days of Jared, which is 3000 BC, and 1,000 years later, and that's the watchers. And they came in, and they were on the red horse of war, which is they taught men how to make swords and all this stuff. It's right here. Here's how it starts to boil down. 1,000 years later, Abraham was born in 2000 BC. 1,000 years later is 2000 BC. That's the black horse. Remember that Abraham was the one that chased away the crows 70 times to keep them from eating the seeds. So it was a great famine, and it was hard to keep up with the seeds, man. I mean, there were people literally trading their souls and lives for seeds, and that was the great famine, and that's the pale horse that's the black horse of the famine in Egypt in 2000 BC. You can go look right up. Right when Abraham, right in that whole era. Then David, we were just talking about him being the pale horse of death, and then his hands being too bloody, and that hell followed with him. That they built the same place, or Solomon built the same place that Jesus walked up to and said, tear this whole place down, man. I am the temple. And that's what the book of Jubilees, it says, thou shalt. Thank you so much for helping me hit those gifts and those goals. That's what keeps me going. And just literally y'all's comments and y'all's questions have got me to where I can answer those questions as I explain it the next time, and the next time is why it doesn't take long for me to do that. I can even do it while AJ's punching the buttons and all that stuff. But anyway, David is that pale horse, the pale horse of death. His hands were too bloody. He just knows that. And he built that temple and lived on Mount Zion, little bubblehead. I can't stand that he did that. Then 1,000 years later is, those were the first kings right there. So 1,000 years later, we had, 1,000 years, and this guy's a king. 1,000 years later is Jesus. The fifth seal is where he goes under the altar, and they see the white robes and all that stuff. White robes, that's Jesus Christ going under the altar. That's Revelation chapter 20, when he descended, and he that ascended is first he that both descended first into the lower parts of the earth before ascending far above the heavens. That's really cool. And we just know that Jesus is the one that did that and locked the devil away for 1,000 years. And it says right there that he should be locked away for 1,000 years, but he must be released for a little season. Jesus only lived on the earth for 3.5 years, 40 and 2 months, 1,260 days after John was beheaded. There were 3 Passovers mentioned in the Gospels that he went through. And that means that was a little season. Remember, there's 12 months in a year, and there are 4 seasons. And if you divide that, it puts you into 3 months. So where a day is 1,000 years, that gives us the little season. Satan would not have been given more of a little season than Jesus. Understand the madness of the world is that after Satan is released for a little season, the rest of the dead yet live again. So in 1033, when the sixth seal was broken, it says there was a great earthquake when they broke the second seal. And there was in 1033 a documented earthquake in Jerusalem in the Jordan Valley Rift. And it caused a great earthquake. They put a pope on the throne that was 12 years old, that was a brutally terrible guy. The comments were it was as though a demon from hell occupied the chair of St. Peter, and that's the little season. But the rest of the dead yet live again. That means that from that point forward to 2025 and going toward 2033, the rest of the dead are on the planet around us. So just understand that when Jesus fed the multitude and he cast the demons were in many. And that means that more than half of the people out of the 7,000 in that one group, 5,000 in another, many had demons. And you define that, and that means more than half. So when the rest of the dead yet live again in 1033, just know that's when the Crusades started. That's when Robert the Devil, that's what I had that little picture up there, because that's actually when there's the Crusades. There's 1033. The only place where the word the devil shows up is right there, Robert the Devil. Watch this. Boom. Where is he at? He's right there. The devil. Robert the Devil. 1033. And that's Robert the Devil. Go watch the new Marvel movie, whatever it is, with the new Mr. America, Captain America, whatever it is. I don't keep up with that stuff. My wife picked that movie out. I thought it was great. That dude that is death, that comes, his name is Bob or Robert. And he is the devil, man. His eyes turn black. He makes everybody turn into dust, and all these people start dying all around him. Dude's name is Bob, and or Robert. And that was him. He was released in 1033 AD. And the rest of the dead yet live again. That's all right around Malcolm and Macbeth and all this stuff. And it's just so interesting to know that that's right after that is when the Crusades started and the Christian persecutions. Every one of those crosses are Christian persecutions where they were like, hey, y'all are practicing religion long, so we're going to chop y'all up into little pieces. And it was a rough day for them. So we're reading the Book of Jubilees, a Dead Sea Scroll document that is just amazing. I can't wait to get back into that study guide, and it's all for y'all. It is in color, looks like this, and I'm going to tell you where you can go download this cool thing because it's got the information we're getting ready to read off of. I want you to read right along with me. And if you go to my link tree and all, not only can you print this off, and you need to go do that, print the other ones off too, because I'm getting ready to clean up my link tree because it's got like 20-something study guides for just this one book. So it's loaded with information. But if y'all will go to the bio page and then click on my link tree, it's going to be that one. It's that button right there. Go to my bio page, click on my link tree, and then click on that right there, and that's the study guide that we're doing. And then click right there and go get one of my T-shirts from Mr. Morris. He's in the crowd tonight, and he prints the best T-shirts in the world. I told him all the time I just love them to death. These are $18 a piece. They're right there on my link tree, and it'll link right to you. He'll ship it to you, and it's awesome. It's got it in a white and blue, and it says my favorite thing, for when I see the sword fall upon the land, I blow the trumpet and warn the people. I wish I could sign every one of them for you, but they go straight to him, so I appreciate that. And y'all go subscribe when you're into my link tree and all, and I'm going to be sending out these study guides and all this Friday, right before the Sabbath, man, and y'all can all join with me. So let me load up my study guide. It's going to be that page right there. This is where we're going. Chapter 20 with 50 chapters in the Book of Jubilees, and we're reading this every Wednesday at 8 o'clock now. So every Wednesday, we're going to pick another chapter. And I'm going to tell you something, man. This stuff just gets more and more interesting. Remember, we're dealing with a guy named Jacob, and an angel said, you like struggle with God a lot, don't you? So I'm going to, yeah, you are. You're like fighting about everything. So I'm going to name you Israel, which means struggles with God. And I would hate to have that like tattooed on my forehead, man. Like, what's your name? Israel. Well, that means struggles with God. I know. I got in an argument with an angel. What? I was arguing with an angel. You know, I am Abraham and Isaac. Okay, hot dog. What about when they said, do not build this place? How did you, like, misinterpret that? Well, it showed a great temple. I know that was Jesus Christ. He said, tear this place down. The temple is in me. And y'all didn't even get it. And you stacked up your stones, little Mason boy. And they stacked up a pillar. And it says in Leviticus, one of those things, it says that thou shalt not raise a pillar. So let's go. Now, we're going to talk about the judgment of the giants, the women and the daughters of Canaan. They're the Jezebels. Jezebel. I love it. I got somebody. Y'all help me hit my goals. I appreciate it. And I wish I could do some kind of fancy trick, but I'm 60 years old, so I'm just going to keep reading. However, that's a pretty cool trick because if the Lord were to return, that's exactly what you want to be found doing, what we're doing right now. Me and 292 other people, we are in the Lord. We are giving meat in due season. We are learning in the Lord, and that's what you need to do. Hey, Dee, how you doing so much? Gigi 8-pack, that's my wife right there. She's such a sweetheart, and she keeps everything in control over here at the house. And her and Daily Inspiration, he walks in the room every 10 minutes and pushes these buttons. And left it up to me. I had it all messed up, didn't I? Yeah. I did. I had it on the Circus of Life. And I thought when I pushed it, I thought I was doing a good thing. Going to get started off without you. But you know what you got to do is you got to wait for the people, and that's what you're going to do. This is Abraham. He called all of his sons, put them together, said love your neighbor and love everybody. That's pretty easy. Let's just read this. This is just a great thing. All right. Let's read it. Abraham called all of his sons and commanded them to observe the way of Yahweh. And in the 42nd Jubilee, in the first year of the 7th week, Abraham called Ishmael. And you see right there where it says the 42nd Jubilee. Remember, a Jubilee is 50 years, and 40 of them is 2,000 years. So it's the 42nd Jubilee. So it's 2,000, that would be 40, and then one more would make that 50. So it's the 42nd Jubilee. Satan gets released out of 2,000 after 2,000 years. So just know that's 40 Jubilee periods, and that is a period of punishment. So and in the 42nd Jubilee, in the first year of the 7th week, Abraham called Ishmael in 2052, and his 12 sons, and Isaac and his 2 sons, and the 6 sons of Keturah and their sons. And he commanded them that they should observe the way of Yahweh, and that they should work righteousness and love each his neighbor, and act on this manner amongst all men, that they should each walk so in regard to them, and as to do just judgment and righteousness on the earth, that they should circumcise their sons according to the covenant which he had made with them, and do not deviate to the right hand or to the left hand of all the paths which Yahweh has commanded us. I'm going to stop right there. People ask me if I am anyway politically connected. I tell you who I voted for and all that stuff. I have no problem with it. I appreciate all the things that are going. As soon as you stray off the path to the right or the left, I'm going to call you out in a minute, man. I got 300,000 people hit that TikTok about Elon and him getting his 33 rocket engines and having to use 42 rocket engines, and that's just a crazy coincidence number. 33 being the years of how long Jesus Christ was on this earth, and then 42 is how the name of Kabbalah says God, and 42 names of God are 42 letters. So just know that it's a little weird when I say political. It says do not deviate to the right hand and or to the left of all the paths, right there. And that's what I tell people, man. They want to sign this big, so I hear, and I don't know that much about it. It's some kind of bill, and it says that they don't want to touch AI for like 10 years. I just think that that's crazy. And I think that whoever wants to sign on to that is just, wow. So just know, whoever's supporting that, don't go to the right or to the left. Keep your eyes dead in the middle of this thing and keep them on the Word of God. And I'm going to tell you, that's going to keep you. I was talking to a guy, he was a sheriff, and I asked him, I said, is it legal to have a 50 caliber gun? And he goes, yeah. I said, good. Then my brother's got one, and it's a big, looks like something you would shoot 3 elephants in a row with. And I was like, what are you going to do with this thing? And he said, it's like, if there's any kind of goes on, I just want to have something. I said, well, that thing going on, I don't think you want to point that little pea shooter at it and shoot it with that. I mean, this thing's probably already dead. And he was like, I said, it's the sword that's going to come out of your mouth that will take care of this thing. If you're going to go up there and think that all of the world is only behind that dude with a 50 caliber rifle, how's my granddaughter going to hold that thing up? My granddaughter knows the sword, buddy. She knows what words are written by the Lord. She knows the 10 Commandments, and she knows that Jesus Christ boiled it all the way down to 2 commandments that said, love your Father in heaven above with all your heart and all your soul, and love your neighbor as yourself. And upon those 2 commandments hang all the laws and all the prophets. For any of my new followers and all that stuff, there's 2 commandments. Love God and love your neighbor as yourself. And you won't want to murder them, and you won't want to steal from them. You won't covet their wife or any of that stuff. You will love them. And you love them as you love yourself. And you take care of them as you take care of yourself. And know that what you've bought into is a relationship with Jesus Christ. And whenever it's time to take care of your adversary, man, they get cast into a lake of fire. And that's all something that you can't do. And know that right now we are in the little season of after that little season, there's 1,000 years that the rest of the dead get to run around until Satan is released from his prison. So just know that's why all the madness is in this world right here. And I had got carried away. Well, as soon as I said, don't deviate to the left or the right, that's all you're going to hear me say about politics. You stay right in the middle, man. That is so important. When you see somebody deviate, that's just not good, man. And I'm going to start right there where I left off. After it says that, and that we should keep ourselves from all fornication and uncleanliness, and renounce from amongst us all fornication and uncleanliness. And if any woman or maid commit fornication against you, burn her with fire, and let them not commit fornication with her after their eyes and their heart, and let them not take to themselves wives from the daughters of Canaan, for the seed of Canaan will be rooted out from the land. And he told them of the judgment of the giants and of the judgment of the Sodomites, and how they had been judged on account of their wickedness, and had died on account of their fornication and uncleanliness and mutual corruption through fornication. That's just, you know what? I love the book of Jubilees. It's a little bit more of blunt bat that hit people with it, but it doesn't say shake snakes and build pyramids and go float in the air and do anything stupid. It literally, they call it the little Genesis, but man, it's just so much more with the dates and all. It's just the best book in the world, and I love it. And it was written by God, and it's the only book that says it was written by God. So just know that. You can research that and say, hey, what books were actually written by God? And throughout all of the books established. And they'll tell you that it's the book of Jubilees is the only one that says it was written by God. So you need to polish that pearl off right there and go, it's only 50 chapters, and this old country boy's already got them printed out with pictures and stuff like that. And I can tell you what, if you go to look it up, it's hard to find where it's just not boring reading them, and it's sort of probably to put you to sleep. But with the pictures and the way that it's put together, I think it's exciting, and I've got so much interest in this class. I certainly do appreciate all of y'all. But we're going to read about, it says in the Bible, do not carve things up with wood and plate them with silver and gold. A lot of people go, that's a Christmas tree and all. You know what? It's statue, and right here we're getting ready to read all about the statues. I'll let y'all take some pictures of these. These are all images from Dore. They're in my links on my website, my Amazon. They're all over 150 years old, and they're all in the public domain. So is all of this text. So if you go to my study guides, it's not marked up like this, and you can just copy that picture, copy that text, and make a TikTok and say, hey, man, did you see this where it's talking about the giants? This book was written by God. Read chapter 1. And that's what I want you to do, man. That's Randy. Thank you so much. You're going to be so excited when I tell you about your Bible. Right there. And let's start and read this, because this is the second page, and then I get to, because this is a short chapter. It only had these 14 verses in it. But I'm going to tell you something as we go on through, and I want to do one chapter each week because the Lord just told me, He said, nope. You let them digest and bake this in there. There's a reason that this is this length because I want this much information absorbed at this time. So the Apocrypha you can buy on Amazon. I just bought the Ethiopian Bible. I'll tell you real quick. I just bought this. And it's full. I'm going to put it on my Amazon links. But before I do, I literally just got it at 5 o'clock today, and I'm updating for my show. But I can just tell you that every page, this is how tall the text is. That is nothing but writing. Nothing but. I don't care what page it is. Look at that. Boy, you want to fall asleep and just go here. Go put that on your just. You want to fall asleep and just go here. Go put that on your links. But I opened it up and checked it out, and it does have the Book of Jubilees. I haven't checked out what it has for Enoch, but I did the cross-check on Jubilees, and it's got a couple of things right in it. I haven't seen anything wrong with it, and if it has Enoch, Jubilees, the Maccabees, and but I mean to tell you, that's a snoring book. There's not one picture. There's not even a picture of the book. So it's just terrible. I say, I'm a picture guy. So that's how I do. I have to have a picture with everything. Like, I almost have to go, well, you said the little season was 1,000 years after Jesus Christ died. Yeah, Jesus Christ was 33 years old. I get it. Okay, 1,033 is right there. Yeah, the only place on a 23-foot map of time that says the devil is in 1,033, 1,000 years after Jesus Christ was crucified, right there. That's just so crazy. Yeah, I know. So whatever. All right, enough of that. Enough. Robert the Devil. I hate that dude. That's the Marvel comedy guy. His Robert is the devil. Study guide, last page. You can do this, Greg. Focus. How's everybody doing out there, man? Oh, Nicole, thank you so much. Nicole, I appreciate it. I saw somebody say something about the Catholic Church. They're the ones that pulled all this stuff out of there, man. The church. That church, that's who the book of Revelation was written to the 7 churches. Good, Cheryl. Thank you so much. Risk, I certainly appreciate it. Y'all coming out. John, thank you for coming here. Blessed Dad, I've seen that name before. Thank you so much. What time did you start tonight? I started at 8 o'clock so I could keep it easy. And because we were doing 8 and 7, and I'm old. So I just said 8 o'clock on everything that I do is going to be Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And I think what happens with 8 o'clock allows me to at least get over to like Las Vegas with their 5 o'clock. So I really don't want to like be while they're at work. I really want to try to help people as much as I can. And 7 in Texas. There you go, man. I appreciate that. And like I said, we get over to Texas, and that's people that got a chance to get off work. And I'm trying to get the PM crowd. I hate to start so late at 8 o'clock because I normally go to bed at 9. But I love your content. I love you, Blessed Dad. I tell you what, I've seen your name, and just for me to happen to see that a couple of times. Bobby Mack, thank you for being here. Nicole, I've seen you in here before. Rachel, Gina Hurst, thank you so much. I try to keep up with all of these people. I wish I could thank every one of y'all. Oh man, it's 1:50 a.m. in the UK. I love that, man, because if y'all just happen to wake up and it just goes, I turned on the trumpet and I woke up. Oh wow, that would be so cool, man. I hate to be that thing that will maybe put you back to sleep, but you have an instrument. You have been instrumental and have been following you for quite some time. Nick, thank you so much, man. I certainly appreciate it. Nick Napier, where's that name from? Where's that last name from, Nick? Blessings, thank you so much. Latora, oh, that's an interesting name. Bostic. The sixth seal, I love his energy. I know. And the sixth seal, man, that's when he went under the altar. And no, that was the great earthquake and the... That was the little season and all that stuff. Ooh, we just read that. All right, y'all want me to read this? I will. I will. I promise you. How did Jesus get his name? Jesus means like Son of God. So it's like saying Son of God from Nazareth. So people go, you know, hey, Greg means watchman. So it would be like Greg from Savannah. That dude's a watchman from Savannah, and or from Orlando or wherever I would be. So if you were a baker or something like that, your name would be whatever that says, and from wherever you were. Not to confuse you with the other bakers or watchmen or sons of God from the other places. They were like, that bad dude's the son of God from Nazareth. Okay, because there are a lot of people like going, totally. How long have you been studying Jesus? Jesus is everything in the whole wide world. So ever since I opened the book and I started finding out that the stories were not exactly the way that I were told. And once I read the story for myself, I was like, well, I always thought that 2 animals got on the ark at the time. They did, but the 7 animals at the time were the blessed animals or the pure animals. And I guess I just was never taught. I thought that David was too little to bear the armor. I thought he was a little shepherd boy. And I couldn't be farther from the truth, man. How long have you been studying Jesus? A long time. I've read the Bible a couple of times with audiobooks and all that stuff, but it never really stuck. All I remember was the pigs running into the ocean when he cast them in there, and I was like, I just never put it together, and I didn't really believe the part about Jonah being swallowed by a whale, and then about 9 or 10 years ago, man, it started to all starting to put together, and my wife told me this one prayer, and I hope you pray it tonight, and I hope it comes true for you. She told me we were in Amsterdam, and I'll never forget it, man. She said, why don't you pray to see the world through his eyes? And I did. And woo-wee, man, that next day I walked out that hotel, and I saw the 3 X's of the flag of Amsterdam. I saw him turn sideways. I walked by the sewer cap, and it turned from 3 X's, and I was like, oh, man. And it turned to 3 crosses. And it was just, as soon as I saw it, and I looked up, and the flag was hanging at 45-degree angle, and the 3 X's were hanging straight, and it was 3 crosses. And I was like, boom, boom. And if you ever been to Amsterdam, one of that main places right there by the Marriott, there's a big angel like the Mother Mary up on top of one of these buildings. And I looked up, and she's on top of this building. I mean, I almost lost it, dude. This is like 7 o'clock in the morning, and I'm trying to go get a cup of hazelnut coffee somewhere, and they're like going, you stupid American. And I'm freaking out going, man, Jesus is right in the sewer cap, right where he needs to be, in the nastiest place in the world. That's where Jesus is. 3 crosses right there. And I found out that the 3 crosses used to go across their chest like this as a sash, and it was 3 crosses, and then they ended up hanging the sash straight, and it made 3 X's for triple X. So it was just funny that it was 3 crosses, and then they turned it into 3 X's. That's exactly how you go off the deep end there, Greg. Mm-hmm. Y'all tell me when I say too much, okay? A lot of people would just go, hey, breathe, dude. And guard yourself from all fornication and uncleanliness, and from all, am I on the right page? And from all pollution of sin, lest ye make our name a curse, and your whole life a hissing, and all your sons to be destroyed by the sword. And you become accursed like Sodom, and all your remnant as the sons of Gomorrah. I implore you, my sons, love Yahweh of heaven, and cleave ye to all his commandments, and walk not after their idols, and after their uncleanliness, and make not for yourselves molten or graven images, for they are vanity, and there is no spirit in them. For they are work of men's hands, and all who trust in them trust in nothing. Serve them not, nor worship them, but serve them your most high, but serve you your most high Yahweh, and worship him continually, and hope for his countenance always, and work uprightness and righteousness before him, that he may have pleasure in you, and grant you his mercy, and send rain upon you morning and evening, and blessed all your works which you have wrought upon the earth, and blessed your bread and your water, and blessed your fruit of the womb, and the fruit of your land, and the herds of your cattle, and the flocks of your sheep. That's just an amazing thing. And I love the rain, man, because when it says send rain, that's just, the whole thing has to do with water. And in the New Jerusalem, there is no more sea, and there's only the river of life. And it's just an amazing thing to get the water from heaven. I've just been thinking, we've got all these people selling us pieces of a glacier and pieces of ice and funneled water. Who has caught rainwater and just like sold that? That would be a cool one, man. I would like to drink rainwater. If anybody makes that, tell me. I don't know why. All you got to do is put a little thing out there and catch it. But that's like out of heaven, man. Purified by heaven. It's raining in Colorado right now. You know, they can catch some water, take a drink, know that God purified that, gave it to you, good for you. And let me read. I'm right there. I'm right there. And you will be for a blessing on the earth, and all nations of earth will desire you and bless your sons in my name, that they may be blessed as I am. All those dudes, they're going to be blessed. Oh, right here. He gave Ishmael his walking orders. And he gave Ishmael and to his sons and to the sons of Keturah gifts, and he sent them away from Isaac his son. And he gave everything to Isaac his son. And Ishmael and his sons and the sons of Keturah and their sons went together and dwelt from Paran to the entering in of Babylon, in all the land which is towards the east, facing the desert. And these mingled with each other, and their name was called Arabs and Ishmaelites. So just know that that's where the Arabs were. They were the people that were in tents. They were wandering. And none of those people were ever instructed to, hey, build a big building and stop wandering. They just kept going. So just know that there was never appointed for God to be, make that one place. No, man, right there on Jerusalem. Dang, y'all got that on the wrong hill, bro. You totally built that on Mount Moriah. That's the house of God. I'm God. It's on Mount Zion. You built your house up there, David. You and the Masons did. So no way my house was supposed to be up there. But anyway, the king of Tyre built that, him and his masons. And it says right there in the chapter that he was in the garden of God because he had exalted himself higher than God. He built all these cities and all that stuff. And he's the guy that built the palace for David, and he built it right on top of Mount Zion. Trust me, man, this guy's a builder of Tyre. The cities and all this stuff made of great stone, a mile-long wall, 60 foot tall, 30 foot wide. This is how big these constructions were. The stuff around Babylon and all this stuff was amazing. The walls of Babylon and how big that whole city was. And bro's going to come over and build a temple and a palace, and one's supposed to be built on Mount Zion is supposed to be the temple of God, and they built the palace of David up there. So just got the wrong mountain, in my opinion. And David lived on Mount Zion, with the same as the city of David, and to get up there he slayed the lame and the blind. So I love the way that Abraham's telling this story. It tells the people don't meet the women of Canaan, and Ishmael did all of that, just goes astray. David, he does the same thing. He mixed, and it says when they mingled right there, they mixed the bloodlines and all that stuff. And I don't want you to think that that's, hey, this one color and they made this color. I had somebody tell me the other day, they were like saying, and it was the certain color of people don't understand this, that, and the other thing. And I was like, what color is your soul? I mean, we're all descendants of Noah and his sons, but what color is your soul? Because we're all the same there. And I just want you to know that we all bleed the same, and inside we're all the same, and it all looks the same. And you know what? It's just this little garment that we put on the outside of us that we put on. And then we put garments on top of that. We're like going, man, I got Louis Vuitton. I got this. And his garment is very meek, and it is a white garment, and it is a purity. And that's the last thing that we do, man. I mean, you can even tell when Peter, he was fishing, and he was naked. Remember that? And then John, the disciple that Jesus loved the most, said, "Hell, no, it's Jesus." And he was like going, and Peter was naked, and he girt his fisherman's coat and jumped into the water. And I'm like going, man, daggone you as a fish god. Why are you coming out of the water? You denied Christ 3 times. Oh, he who denies the Father denies me in front of the Father, the same as the spirit of Antichrist. And he did that, and he got forgiven. And he got told to watch my sheep 3 times in a row, which is sort of about as cool as being named Israel. What do you mean? Israel means struggles with God. I mean, I don't want that tagline. What is your name? I have a problem with God. Well, hello, Mr. Happy. You're ruining things over here. Struggles with gosh. That's terrible, man. I would hate for somebody to give me that name. I would think any other name was that. Like, can we get any credit for building the temple? No, Jackwagon, you built it on the wrong mountain. You built it on Mount Moriah. That's a mountain of sacrifice. Whatever. Lisa, thank y'all so much for the gifts. We're done with the study guide. Let me get back to Robert the Devil and the little season. I love the little season. A lot of people talk about it. I don't want to call it the little season like, hey, we're still in that, because it was for 3.5 years, 40 and 2 months. Know that. And before we go on to this little season thing, I want you to go buy that t-shirt right now. Go to my link tree, go to my bio page, buy that t-shirt right now. Do it. Buy it blue, buy it white. Mr. Morris, he's right here in the group. You go buy that. It's $18. I don't know how he's doing it. But let's go talk about the little season and or the 7th seal and how these line up. Do you like the map being this way? I can take a picture. Or do you, thank you, Mr. Morris. I certainly appreciate it. Those are his t-shirts. Or do you like the map being this way? Because I can explain it either way. Can you get it in black? I don't know, Kat. That's a good one. Because I'm wearing a black shirt because my comments, if I wear a white shirt, you can't see the comments. So I'm going to start wearing black. He's sending me a blue one, too. The first way. Okay. All right. So this one, that right there, the first one, is that better? Okay. Good deal. Let me see a couple of yes. I think I got it. Yep. Okay. All right. Let me get out the way and I'll take a picture of that. And let me. It's these little kids, man, that are in daycare. I swear they come out of daycare. Whatever is in the daycare, granddaddy gets it, because if you don't kiss your granddaughter, even if she's got a snotty nose, you're just not as cool a granddaddy as I am. I don't care. Too cute. Up and down, please. Up and down, please. I don't get what that means. Let me give you that one. Take a picture, and you can take a picture of that one. Come on, we're getting ready to get into the 7 seals. Now, has anybody that has heard this before, you got to remember who the white horse is, and the white horse, that's Jesus Christ. Revelation 19, and there was a white horse came out of heaven, and he had many crowns on his head. So just know that the white horse, that's Jesus Christ. Every time that you're going to be talking about a white horse with crowns on his head, and it says that this first horse is a white horse, and he has a crown on his head, and he's given a bow, and it doesn't say an arrow, so this is not a military conquest. This is a bow, like a rainbow, and that is the covenant from God that he's given that bow, a rainbow, as a covenant, and he is the white horse of creation. Just know, white robes, white horse, Jesus coming out of heaven on a white horse. That's God, creation, Adam, first seal broken. Bam, right there. So a day is like 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is like a day. So for me to turn around, and I put together like a week ago, I put this chart together on my phone. The thing you're seeing right here, this is all done on my cell phone. And my wife, she was like going, what are you doing? And moving those little zeros around and all that stuff, those little circles, and putting the text in there. I'm old, I wear glasses, and that just drove me nuts. But I saw this thing, and I was like going, it's every 1,000 years. And AJ's adjusting the screen right now. Y'all just let me get to where I can go to this next seal. Is 1,000 years later, and it's 3000 BC, and it's going to be right about there. And it's the days of Jared when Enoch was taken up. So just know in 3000 BC is when the end of Enoch was, and that is the days of Jared when the Watchers descended. And the red horse was the horse of war, and he was given permission to take peace from the earth. And that's what the Watchers did. They descended and they took peace from the earth. And they taught men how to create war and how to make swords. And you know what? I can just do this without even seeing the chart. The third horse, that's 2000 BC, 1,000 years later. And that third horse is the black horse of famine. So just know that the black horse of famine was Abraham, 2000 BC. That's right when he was born, 2000 BC. And that's the third seal. The black horse of famine, measure the grain, measure the barley, a penny for this, hurt not the oil. And he chased away the crows for like 70 times so that he could, thank you so much for the gift, Cheryl. And he chased away the crows. So that's why I feel like they give him that black horse. And that's a good thing, man. I mean, he brought the people out of Egypt and what have you. And then the fourth seal, that's the pale horse. That's David, you know. His hands were so bloody he couldn't even build the temple. And the pale horse and death and hell followed with him. His son is the one that built the temple. And Jesus said, tear that place down. But remember that Saul had his thousands and David had his 10,000s. So just know that he is that. And that's how that happens. So 1,000 years later, that's Jesus Christ. That's Revelations 20. You know that he descended, and he saw there's a witness of those that were beheaded for the witness of Christ. And then in Matthew 27. Verse 27:52, it says that the rocks did rent and the graves opened and the bodies of many saints which slept arose. And they got out of the grave and walked through the city streets of Jerusalem and were seen by many. So just know that when Jesus resurrected, those people got out of the graves with him. The witnesses that were the beheaded witness, that's John the Baptist and all that stuff, they got out. It says that he locked the devil away for 1,000 years and that after 1,000 years he must be released for a little season. Know that Jesus Christ lived for 3.5 years after John the Baptist was beheaded, a little season after the introduction of Jesus Christ through John the Baptist. And then I can't imagine the devil was given any more of a season than the 3.5 years. A season is 1/4 of 12 months, and that is 3 months. So just understand that a day is like 1,000 years. This is a little season. Here's the trick. After the 1,000 years, the rest of the dead yet live again. Okay, that's all the other knuckleheads that are in the ground. The rest of the dead yet live again right there in 1033. There was a great earthquake, and then the rest of the dead yet live again. And that's right there. And it doesn't say that they died the next year. It doesn't say that they turned 30 years old and died. It says the rest of the dead live again. So they went out and they formed a company called BlackRock. I'm kidding. And then they did form the definite families of the world, and they probably got embedded into all the churches and they got into everything. They are probably at the highest political power at right now, and just know it. And just know that the rest of the dead yet live again. That's Revelation 20, verse 5 or 6 or somewhere around there. And then after the 1,000 years are finished, Satan must be released from his prison. So that's the end of the second death. And it says that he is affected by the first resurrection, is not affected by the second death. So it is a separate 1,000-year period. And it is a Jubilee period. And that is 40 Jubilee periods. Just know 40 is how many years they walked around in the desert, how many days that Goliath taunted Israel, how many days Jesus fasted, and all of these things was 40. Saul was king for 40 years. David was king for 40 years. Solomon was king for 40 years. Go look it up on the map. And all of those things. So 40 50-year periods is 2,000 years and matches the book of Revelation chapter 20. Perfect when Satan is released from his prison. Now, all he's put back into jail until then is 2025. We're 8 years away from that. They call this the Jubilee year. Understand that this is calculated in Jubilee years. And if Jesus Christ locked the devil away in 33 AD, when he passed away in 33 AD, the year of our Lord, if we counted with Jubilee years, and counted how many Jubilee periods, 40 of them would be 2033. So it's maybe the Jubilee period according to the Gregorian calendar, but the 40th Jubilee period after Jesus' resurrection in 33 AD is right there at 2033. So the 40th Jubilee, or the 2,000 years after Jesus is crucified, is 2033. I'm not making that number up, man. That's 8 years away from now. So I can see how, we're given a little bit of a warning here to, hey, Greg, it's the Jubilee year according to the Gregorian calendar. No pun intended, Greg. And Greg does mean Watchman, so you go print this book out. I know it's 50 chapters, so I'm just telling you this. Get going. It's the second week in January. You print the study guide out, read one every Wednesday, go. And man, I got it loud and clear, bro. And I started reading the first chapter. It said that God wrote this and that he gave it to Moses to teach men with. And I was like, whoa. Like, where are we now? We're right there, 2025, 8 years away from 2033. Jesus Christ was crucified in 33 AD, and 2,000 years later, which is when Satan is released and the second death, is 2033. A lot of people say we're in the little season, and that's because after 1,000 years after Jesus' resurrection, the devil must be released for a little season. That was 3.5 years, the same amount of time Jesus was on the face of the earth after John was beheaded. So just know that little season lasted. But after the 1,000 years, the rest of the dead yet live again. So just know that the rest of the dead got out of the graves. I have no idea how many numbers that is, but it is a crap ton of dead people that live again. And it doesn't say, and they died the next year and they got a bubonic plague. No, it says they're dead and that they live again, Revelation chapter 20, verse 5 or 6. So all the madness of the world is the rest of the dead that are living in this time and date. We're right here, 2025. We're 8 years away from that, and that's 2,000 years, just like Revelation 20 says. So just understand that when Jesus went under in Revelation 20, and he went and he had a great chain in his hand, and he laid hold on the devil, the dragon, which is that serpent, and the devil, and he locked him away for 1,000 years. Just know he that ascended is first he that both descended first into the lower parts of the earth. Greg, can you please slow down a little, please? I will. Thank you. I will. Y'all look at that and y'all ask me some questions, and I'll speed right back up when y'all tell me to. It's a lot. And y'all tell me when y'all got a question. Breathe, I hear everybody, thank you so much. I get excited about that, and people don't understand that they say, where are we right now? And I'm like, man, but I'll keep breathing. Y'all take care of me. Those are my warriors right there. The people that are just saying, man, we love you. We're flowing. I was flowing, bro. And I can keep going because I sold all my pearls for the book of Jubilees, man, because it says God wrote it. Nowhere in it does it say that you can cast judgment on a man. It just says, hallow the Sabbath, man, and keep the Sabbath holy, because that's what God did. And you have to respect the Sabbath because God built this planet and did everything in 6 days, and he rested on the seventh days. And that was that thing. That's why I get back on track, because there's 400 people in the room, and there's a lot of people that are we in Satan's little season? And they didn't hear it. So I have to. Satan's little season was for 3.5 years, I believe. There was a pope, age 12, that ruled for 3.5 years, ironically, during 1033. And Jesus was crucified in 33 AD. And he was crucified in 33 AD. It says that he locked the devil away for 1,000 years and that he must be released for a little season. And that the fact that his little season, Jesus's, was 3.5 years. It never says a 7-year tribulation. It says 3.5 years a couple of different ways and a couple of different times, but it never says a 7-year period. And I have a good question. I want to see, I heard the word rest in there. Why does God need rest? Does he get tired? That's a good question. Does he get tired? No. I think he respects the process. And I think that he should tell you that if you work every day at something, that you'll lose track of what is most important, and that's him. And that every 6 days you should stop and rest and learn and absorb. And that's the Sabbath. And so much so that you shouldn't even confuse your mind that on the Sabbath, that the day before the Sabbath, that you should collect enough to eat so that you don't have to worry about that on the Sabbath. And to finish that teaching to man, I'm glad to finish all that teaching. But man, I'm glad did what the Father told me because I'm understanding. There you go, Kat. I appreciate that. You're one of my faves. And, God doesn't need rest. He needs you to respect the process. And he made the Sabbath. God made the Sabbath for man so that he could respect that. And it's not man made the Sabbath, for God. And God made the Sabbath so that he could say, hey, dude, you can work all you want to, man, but you need to stop and rest in me. And you're actually supposed to be working in him. And I can tell you that the more I work in him, the happier I have become, and the more odds that I'm going to be found doing this whenever I'm getting everything except the second death. Okay, let me do the second death again. That says that he who is affected by the first resurrection is not affected by the second death. And that's Revelation 20, I think, verse 4 or so. And so that means that the first resurrection and the second death are two individual periods. And he locked the devil away, and it says, let me read it. And it says, and this is the first resurrection. So just know that that's the first resurrection when Jesus resurrected. And it's Revelations chapter 20 is where I'm going to be reading from. And it says, he who is affected by the first resurrection is not affected by the second death. And it's right here. Revelation 20. I'll just read Revelation 20 for you, and we'll go right up to it, if that's okay. And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit, and a great chain in his hand. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years, and cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more, till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled. And after that he must be loosed a little season. And then I'm going to read this about the judgment. And let's don't get off track, that after that 1,000 years, he must be released for a little season. And I saw the thrones of them that sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Christ. Judgment was given unto King Herod. The beheaded witnesses of Christ are John the Baptist, and the word of God, and had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither received his mark upon their forehead or in their hands. And they lived and reigned with Christ 1,000 years. That's the millennial reign. But the rest of the dead lived not again until the 1,000 years were finished. This is the first resurrection. All right, so the rest of the dead lived not again until the 1,000 years are finished. So we're talking about Jesus being crucified, and the rest of the dead lived not again until the 1,000 years are finished. So the rest of the dead live again after the 1,000 years are finished. Right there, man. The rest of the dead but the rest of the dead lived not again until the 1,000 years were finished. This is the first resurrection. Now, this is the one that untangles it for you. Blessed and holy is he that hath part in the first resurrection. On such the second death hath no power. But they shall be priests of God and Christ, and shall reign with him 1,000 years. And when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison. Right there, the second death. When the 1,000 years are expired, 2,000 years after that. So the first death is the first resurrection is right there. The second death is the next 1,000 years. And that is the second 1,000 years. And then he shall go out and deceive the nations. Did that untangle that a little bit for you? Because the people that are affected by the first resurrection or the first 1,000 years they speak about, they are not affected by the second death. And those people live and reign with Christ 1,000 years. And after that 1,000 years, Satan must be released out of his prison. So that is 40 Jubilees yet later, 2,000 years later after. Yeah, thank you so much. I certainly appreciate that, Arkansas GD. I want everybody to get this, man. I want my wife to get it and my son. They spend a lot of time moderating and in the room, and I'm like going, are you getting that part now? And I sat there and beat it into him enough about the, God wrote the 10 Commandments and he wrote the book of Jubilees. And there I go getting excited again. So y'all let me know if y'all got any other questions about how we went through these seals. Did these first 4 horsemen, did these line up with what y'all see, how the white horse being God and Christ, the red horse being the watchers that taught men how to make swords, the famine is the black horse of Abraham, and then David, he was just, his hands were too bloody to even build a temple. Do we see these 4 horsemen right here? Because that's the 4 horsemen right there. Is a vote for Trump. Is the vote for Trump the mark? No, I don't think so. I voted for Trump. And I got zero problem with telling you that. The minute that I find out that we're not supposed to touch AI for 10 years, I'm going to say, wait a minute, AI lies to me on a daily occasion, and if I didn't happen to know so much about it, is there going to be a great war called Armageddon? Yeah, right there. The 7th seal, that ain't the end of the day, man. The 7th seal is the beginning of the end. At the 7th seal, there's silence in heaven for about a half an hour, and then the 7 angels are given 7 trumpets, and then the first angel blows the trumpet and hail and fire, and then a third of the grass is burned up, and really the wheels fall off the wagon right there. And it's after that. So Satan's released from his prison, the angels are given trumpets, and they start burning up the earth. So Satan's out, and the angels are fighting him, and that happens at the 7th seal after a half hour of silence in heaven. And then after the 7 trumpets are the 7 bowls or the 7 vials and plagues. And those are all the things that are doom and destruction. That's the Armageddon per se. And it does say that all of the tribes of earth shall mourn. So where is this in the Bible? Which piece? I can tell you any piece of that in the Bible. Papa Teacher, when the souls got out of the grave, you remember where that is. Papa Teacher was Matthew 27, verse 52, and the rocks did rent, and the ground did quake, and the graves were opened, and the bodies of many saints which slept arose and walked through the city streets of Jerusalem, and were seen by many. So that didn't happen either. What happened? So the only ones that were resurrected got into life with Christ. The ones that were resurrected lived and reigned with Christ for the 1,000 years, and those were the holy souls. And if you read those into they just crossed the Jordan River, and they wash their robes in the Jordan, and they have to wait there until the day of tribulation, and we're reading that in the Gospel of Nicodemus, which is the New Testament Apocrypha. And if you'll look at the colors of the Jordanian flag, they are white, red, black, and green. So just know that the 200 white robes right there, they wash their robes in the Jordan. And I'm scared to eat this thing. It'll make my mouth pucker. GG8 pack, thank you so much. When will the 3 days of darkness be? I'm not really sure. It does say that when the 2 witnesses, which are Enoch and Elisha, it tells you that in the Gospel of Nicodemus, and that they've been kept alive and were taken up into heaven alive so that they could fight the Antichrist for us, and that the Antichrist would kill them, and that they would lay in the streets 3.5 days dead and then be taken up alive into heaven. So that's the souls that came out and crossed the Jordan, where they asked, and they was like, oh, who are these 2 dudes that's got bodies and they've never seen death? And they were like, he goes, I'm Enoch, that's Elisha over there, and we never tasted death, because when the day comes, we got to go fight the Antichrist for you and for us, and then he is going to kill us, and then we're going to lay dead. That's real, man. That's the book of Acts of Pilate, Gospel of Nicodemus. We'll be reading that tomorrow night, man. You can go read that with me. And Gospel of Nicodemus, man, he's one of the dudes that helped Joseph of Arimathea handle the body of Jesus Christ. And they did feel the ground rock and rent, and the dead bodies, they witnessed them. And we read one of the scriptures out of it where the dead bodies that walked out of the grave in Matthew 27, verse 52, they basically interviewed two of these guys that they knew were dead. They went to their funeral. They said, we went looking for Joseph of Arimathea. These two dudes are in Arimathea, and they got out of the grave, and they said that if we give them some paper, they're going to write down everything for us. And they wrote down a true account. What time tomorrow? 8 o'clock on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday is when I do that. Do we believe on the rapture? It says immediately after the tribulation of those days, shall we see the Son of Man coming in the sky. And it also says that all of the tribes of earth shall mourn. So I do think that we're going to see this terrible events because all of the tribes of earth are going to mourn in that event. And the only ones that are not affected by that are the 144,000 that had the white robes that I believe got them washed in the Jordan River, which ironically match the same colors as those horses and all that stuff. But that's 144,000. What is caught up, means that we're changed in the twinkling of an eye. Remember, there's a new Jerusalem coming down and descending from heaven. So the last thing you want to do is leave. But that is going to destroy the earth, and the rivers will be dried up, and there will be no more seas. So I can imagine that us all being caught up and judged in front of the books, we will be changed in the twinkling of an eye. And that's exactly when that's going to happen. If you read the book of Gad, or if you read into the book of Revelation 20, right here, Revelation 20, verse 12, and I saw the dead, both small and great, stand before God, and the books were opened. It's got an S on it. And the books were opened, and another book was opened, which is the book of life. And the dead were judged out of all of those things which were written in the books and according to their works. So understand, in the book of Gad, it says there are 3 books open. That just used books with an S twice in Revelation 20, verse 12. And they opened the first book in the book of Gad. And I call that the grandma group. They're like golden. So they go right up. So let's just say there's a third, a third, and a third for easy math. So, 2/3 of the people are sitting there going, oh, crap. We didn't make the grandma group. And they go, yeah. They're going to read the second book. And that's the ones with the unintentional. Can you name what is written in the book of life and has been erased? Now, I can't. Can your name be written in the book of life and be erased? I don't know. I don't think there's a scripture that's associated with that. But you're judged on those. It says that you're judged on these deeds that are written down in the book of life. So, but let me get back to that first group that got vacuumed away, and then the 2/3 of us are over here. And then they say that second group, which are the unintentional sins of man, put them over there for the period of half a month and let them watch the third group and take that group right there and destroy them in front of everybody. So you got to see grandma vacuumed up into heaven, and you got to realize, oh my gosh, then you got parked over there on the left-hand side or the right-hand side of the curb and said, you chill out and watch what's going to happen if you ain't changing your mind good, just in case you haven't already. And then you destroy those, and Satan takes them and immediately destroys them that were in that third book. So it's just, it depends on what book you're in. And, if you're in that grandma group, it says immediately after the tribulation of those days. So if you're alive, you're probably going to be mourned. But if you're dead, you're going to be in the ground. And if you'll stick with me next Tuesday in the book of Enoch, I'll tell you right where in the ground it says that you are. And it says that there's a mountain range, and there's 3 places, and the good people and the bad people, and they roll over in the fire over there. And they're waiting for the day of judgment where they'll be caught up. There's a scripture in Revelation about removing your name out of the Lamb's book. Print out. Right, that's what a lot of people, hey, there's a name that says that their name maybe can be taken out of it. A lot of people go, you can lose your grace. I bet you can. Think you got your little stack party over there and come rolling in with your, hey, I'm good. Ain't nobody good, man. Moses wasn't good. He got struck down and couldn't even walk into the Holy Land. So that was You know, thank you so much for all the gifts. AJ's been in here 400 times, and there's 420 people in this room. I thank you for all of them. We certainly have met so many of our marks and goals. Please go to my page and subscribe on the link tree, and that'll give me your email address. And then on Friday, we sent out 1,520 something emails earlier this week, and everybody got this big study guide, man. That's 17-page study guide that I sent out on the 7 seals about this. So we're going to send this out on Friday right before the Sabbath, and it's going to be like a little Sabbath worksheet, man. It'll be like, go get some bread, go get a little thing of wine, and read this. And it'll be like a little Sabbath study guide, man, and then you can do your Sabbath. If you can't do Saturday, do your 7th day, man. Pick it. But the trick is that on the 6th day, can you please explain the Seal 44 again? I don't know much about Kabbalah or whatever that stuff, other than those dudes marching around that black box. And, they think that they have the 72 names of God. And, 42 names of God. And then I hear different versions that it's the first letter of each one of those names is the 42 letters of God. And if you read not the Torah, it's the Jewish mysticism. It says that when he was attacked and they thought that he was dead, it says that one of his boys yelled out that word or whatever it was, and it saved David. And then right after that, he got no heat and he turned cold, and those were the last words of David. Dude died at like 60, but his last words, he was like 40 years old or something, man. And they're like, these be the last words of David. And I'm like going, okay. And then you're cold all the time and you got no heat. They put all kinds of people on top of you to warm you up, and you're the pale rider. No, that's him, man. That's the pale rider, little chill boy over there. David got no heat. But, see how I go off seal number 4? What do you want to know about it? Seal number 4, he's a pale horse. And he had so much things that he did wrong, man. He was death. David had his 10,000. Saul only had his thousands. But David's hands were too bloody to even build the temple. And a lot of people click into that little season up there. And some people, like I said, they just said, hey, I don't understand the 4th seal or the 3rd seal. You just explained. Hey, I tell you what, if I need to, where can I access the book of Jubilees? I tell you what, let me pull up some pictures because I want you to go do this. One, I want you to subscribe because you get all kinds of cool stuff like these books of Jubilees. This is just the 20th one that I've done. We've got 30 more to go. They're all on my link tree. Come on, I'll show you. And it's this book right here. And I put the pictures with it. The pictures are all over 150 years old, so you can use all of this work. And then I want you to go right here. I want you to go to my bio page and then click on my link tree on my bio page, and then it'll open up that. And then that was Enoch. We did that Tuesday night. And this is what we just did tonight. And tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, I'm reading that, chapters 4 and 5. They're small. Both of them, put 2 of them together, and actually is a good little thing. And these are the 3. That's Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday right there. You go down to, while you're there, click that subscribe button right there, and you'll be able to access. I'll get your email address in, and you'll be on my mailing list, because every Friday it gives me a thing to where I can download my subscribers and their email address, and I'm going to download that chart, so it'll be updated every Thursday. I can't go back and add 10 names and send them the chart, but we're going to start cleaning up my link tree because it's got a lot of stuff in it, man. It's got 20 study guides on just Jubilees, and it's got 5 study guides of this. It's really sort of muddy. And AJ's got this great thing that we're getting ready to do, personal studies and all kinds of things, Zoom calls. I just can't wait. He's such a bright young man, and he worked very hard on it today, and he's just almost too tired to explain to me all the work that he put into it. Just amazing. And I really do. After we worked on that all day long, and then we get on at 8 o'clock and just keep going. I really appreciate that and all the people that help me. What's your understanding of Melchizedek the priest? Melchizedek, Jesus Christ. Jesus is God. He who has no mother and no father, no beginning of days and no end of days. That's one person or one entity. And Melchizedek was a priest. Jesus was a priest in the order of Melchizedek. And Abraham, he met Melchizedek and gave him bread and wine. Jesus, this was bread and wine. You know, all these people that lived on that mountain. David, hey, take bread and wine up there. What is Melchizedek? Melchizedek is Jeru. He was there first. He's the one. And that was where all the lame and the blind, man, went for bread and water and all that stuff. Is there an introductory video about your teachings I could reference? You know what? Thank you so much, Drake. I have my YouTube page, which is all of my teachings. My TikTok page is just, gosh, it's all over the place. And but I promise you that we are sending out a newsletter that will tell you where you can go see a lot more of my stuff in a format that I was just blown away with. AJ worked on it all day. We're not in the position to release it yet. We want to have a big release, hopefully tomorrow afternoon. But, man, we've just got all kinds of nice archive of documents and availability to where we can have, like, Zoom classes where I can do, like, one-on-one calls. Also, and I do those all the time. One-on-one calls. I want to have some Zoom classes where there's only like 440 people in the room or so, 30 or 40 people. That way, it's coming soon. It really is daily inspiration. I'm surprised he's even still awake, man. He worked his butt off all day. But we can make like a Zoom call and let it get like 30 or 40 people. That way I can talk to y'all, man. And y'all can raise your hands and ask questions, and I can bring that Lizbeth. I can't wait. Those are going to be for my subscribers and those people. And it's a great format that'll allow you to watch some of these lessons more in a one-on-one format. And it's really a cool thing. But I don't want to release too much of that. I got some updates on some of my manufacturing. Y'all guys that have ordered these things, we really did some big photo shoots today. And this guy, he was right outside watching me on that bell. He was on my bell watching me yesterday. And today, while I was putting this together, you know, we're manufacturing and making that big Bible 6 inches thick. And we got that come out. The corners were so sharp and so tight. The bindings, the laces go all the way back up. A little bit more trim on the edges. Another buff with the oil. And that one's walking out the door, I bet, tomorrow. And then this was the other one, too. The Enoch scroll that we're doing, this is the display case and all. I can't wait for y'all to get hold of these things. These are just really cool. They're coming up tomorrow. I can't wait to go through all that with you. Let's see. We're going to go right back into here, 1033. This was when they said the little season, you know, 1,000 years after Christ. And everybody was waiting for 1,000 years after Jesus locked the devil away. Everybody knew something was going to happen. So they put a pope in place right here in 1033. Kid was 12 years old, man. And he ruled for 3.5 years, 40 and 2 months, just like it says the Antichrist, or it says in the book of Daniel. So what Bible do you recommend for hard copy? You know, I just got that Ethiopian Bible. And if you want something with every daggum thing in it, that. But I like reading Bibles with a lot of pictures in them. And I don't like a lot of the commentary at the bottom. So a nice King James Bible, one with Dore sketches. We gave one away last week. And it's got beautiful sketches on about every 3 or 4 pages. And those are beautiful, and then have some red text in it where Jesus Christ is talking. And I love that. I miss some of the arguments that happen in here. And my
angels that are in here, man. Y'all are my digital deacons, bro. And y'all just attack people. Auto renew for the subscriptions. Yeah, that's great. I appreciate that. That's what's got me saying, hey, I'm getting ready to just do this full time. This is what I want to be found doing. Giving to y'all and doing this stuff. Just doing, do you think we're in the trib right now? I think that these are very tribulistic days. And it does say immediately after the tribulation of those days shall you see the Son of Man coming in the sky. Some of these things that we see back in history where 1.1 million people were crucified in Jerusalem in 70 AD, that's a tribulation right there. I bet it was. I guarantee you. So, do I say we're into tribulation? I don't know, man. It's a freak show right now, if you ask me. I mean, we're talking about going to fly 1,000 rocket ships to Mars a year. For what? They say all the prophecies have been filled. Now comes the rapture. I don't think all the prophecies have been filled. I've seen us snap some seals before. We're going to be snapping the seventh one. But if you snap that seventh seal right there, just know they're going to blow the trumpet. Now, let me tell you, it says when they blow the trumpets and the mountain slid into the sea. You know, Pompeii, when Vesuvius exploded, that mountain slid into the sea. I went there. And that was man, those people were caught. It almost reads just like Revelation. I think it's 6 or something like that, or 8. And then just the people are screaming, and it just catches them screaming. I don't know, man. Cold. Those were the most elite of Rome. That was Sodom and Gomorrah in Italy. And, man, they caught them people right in the act of just whatever they were doing and literally screaming in their place, man. And you can just see the expressions on their face, and you can just see like the dogs and all. They were all just like died. And what kills you like that, man? What kills you like that? Not being I got burned up by a volcano. I mean, that just like, gosh, you to die with that look on your face of screaming or in a position or holding your children or, whoa, what a crazy thing, man. I can't say where it hurt your platform. Believe I say this, and I learned so much, but I can't say it here. It will hurt your platform. Oh, you won't hurt my platform whatsoever. Cat, you just go ahead and say whatever you want to say, because now I want to know. I believe, yes. I learned way too much, but I can't say it here or hurt your platform. Okay. I don't know what you're saying. So maybe you don't want to say something. It wasn't to me. So we are in the 7-year tribulation. It doesn't say 7-year tribulation anywhere in the Bible. It says 3.5 years, a lot. This study is so fun. I truly love it. I certainly appreciate you, and I hear from you all the time. Thank you so much. These people, I don't even let my dad so quick with people. He's like, oh, man, I don't cast pearls at the swine. And these people that it was the gas, right? This study is so fun. I do. I love studying with y'all. And this is just a great time that we have. We get to read the book of Jubilees in the Jubilee year. But to tell you the truth, 2033 is the celebration of the Jubilees after Jesus Christ died. So if you start counting the Jubilee years and their increments of 50, if you started before Christ, they would be the year 2000. But it starts in 33 AD when Jesus Christ locked away the devil for 2,000 years, and 40 Jubilee periods would be 2,000 years, and that would be 2033. So exactly, Lizbeth, it's 2033. But remember, the rest of the dead get out of the grave right here 1,000 years later. So the rest of the dead yet live again right there. And it doesn't say that they die next week, and it doesn't say that they turn into old people. It says the rest of the dead people live again. We can go wrong by the calendar, don't we? We go by the wrong calendar. Yeah, we do. They actually moved April 1st. I just learned that this year. Man, they moved April 1st, and they said if you still think the year begins on April 1st, you're a fool. Thou shalt not call anybody a fool. And then they named a date after that. But no matter what calendar you're following, 2,000 years is 2,000 years. A year is 365 4 days. So 2,000 years after Jesus Christ was crucified, as in the book of Jubilee, Revelation chapter 20, says the devil was locked away for 2,000 years, and 2,000 of those later, after he was resurrected in 33 AD, is right there, 2033. So what year is the year of Jubilee, and what does it mean for us? That I couldn't tell you what year the real year of Jubilee is. But understand this. A Jubilee year is the 50th year, hallow the 50th year, and make it hallow, whatever. And it's after the 49th year you blow the trumpets and announce the 50th year. So if you take modules of 50, there's 40 of them in 2000. And when Jesus was crucified, he locked the devil away for 2,000 years. So we have messed with the calendar so much that we don't know where the Jubilees were in BC period. But it all got sort of wiped away when Jesus Christ came back and resurrected and said, I put that boy in a box for 2,000 years, and that's going to be 2,000 years from 33 AD, which is in the year of our Lord, because 0 BC means before Christ. So no matter how you count years, it starts 0 right there before Christ, and then he died at 33 AD. So 2,000 years later will be 2033. I'm sorry I didn't see that comment. If you'll print it back up, I wasn't looking. And who picked? Forgiveness all. I love sitting here going through these things. And tomorrow is another great book about the trial of Jesus. And that is super, super cool. There are no primary sources to prove Jesus even existed. Wow. What do you call primary sources? The Holy Bible? One of the most well-documented, well-scrutinized documents on the whole earth. You know, for you to say that, I've seen Jesus. I've had him knock on my door. He's walked in my door. And I'm sorry that he hasn't met you yet, and I pray that he does. But when you get to know him, it'll all start making sense, but you have to accept him. You have to accept that you're not the person that makes you. You were thought about of before you were in your mother's womb, and he knew exactly what you'd be, and he knew you'd ask me that question tonight. And he also knows that I'm going to say a prayer for you, and that you do find out the positive information, because Jesus wasn't just Jesus. Jesus was God. And Jesus, when confronted by the devil, told the devil these exact words: "Thou shalt not tempt the Lord thy God." The devil was tempting Jesus and said, if you do this, I'll do that, blah, blah, blah. And Jesus said, thou shalt not tempt the Lord thy God. Jesus is God. So, you know, if you don't believe in God, well, then you are probably a pretty smart guy, and you probably know people that know how to make an oak tree or an acorn, or they know how to build grass, and they know how to make a mustard seed, and they know what that little crap is inside of an acorn and all that stuff. It's an amazing group that you must live around that know all these things, and you probably know exactly what shape the earth is, and I'm pretty sure about that. I think it's amazing that we're all learning out that we don't even know a team of scientists that could build a blade of grass. One of the stupidest things on the face of the earth. God probably laughed while he was building grass. Jesus is my king, my strength, and my comforter. He is. And he knows how to build a blade of grass. He knows how to make a chicken heart beat on the counter sitting over there without any wires hooked to it. And we don't even know anybody that can recharge their cell phone without having some type of electrical device hooked to it through magnetics or something like that. So we're not cool, and there is a God, and Jesus said that he is God. Jesus is God. So that was my little Jesus is God thing. But I appreciate you, man, and believe me, there was a little bat on my doorstep today, a little baby bat. He was about that big. And, my first inclination was to run him off. He's a little baby. And because he had the look of a bat, he looked like a bat. Well, he was on the trumpet's front doorstep. And he's probably looking for somebody to treat him like a bat, because it says in that Bible that they are an abomination with eagles as well. And, I just let that bat do his thing, bro. And he just seemed to be very docile. Even Arlo let him ride, man. And it didn't even bark at him. So, you don't judge a book by its cover. And he looked like a little bat. But he was just sitting there resting all day long, and he decided to go hang out with the trumpet on the front doorstep. So, I'm not going to run that guy off for saying something that doesn't fit in with what I'm synchronizing with. I have a friend that's an atheist. I travel all over the world with him. I think he changed over to like being a Buddhist. And then he started believing in Jesus, started believing in God. And he was having real big trouble. And I gave it all up to God. And then I reminded him, I said, "Do you remember when you were in trouble and you're so-and-so and you gave it all up to God?" And he was like, "Yeah." I said, "Did you get past that?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "Remember that you gave it all up to him." And I'm getting him. He's coming around and all. He's the same guy that was in Italy. We were traveling. He threw that quarter into the wishing well. And he don't believe in, at that point, he didn't believe in anything. I said, I watched you throw that quarter in that wishing well. And I said, "Who were you talking to?" He goes, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, you closed your eyes, you looked up towards the heaven, and then you said something, and you asked for something that you yourself couldn't do and nobody on this earth could do, and you asked for something, and then you flipped a quarter into the air. And I just want you to know you were talking with the wishing well guy." And I know the wishing well guy. And right now, just let him be the wishing well guy to you. I'll introduce you to him. But I want you to get to know him, because I want him to wave back at you. So don't go over there and run him down and any of that stuff. But that's the wishing well guy. And next week, when he recognizes you and sees him, I want you to wave. A week or so from now, I want y'all to wave, and you'll happen to be over in that way, and you'll walk by. And then maybe the third week, you might walk by the wishing well guy and say, "Hey, my name is so-and-so." And he'll say, "My name is Jesus Christ." I love y'all. And I'm tired. I'm going to teach y'all a good class tomorrow. Go download the study guides. I love y'all. Just getting to know the wishing well guy, man. He's going to grant that. His name is Jesus Christ of Nazareth. And I have unshakable faith in Jesus too. I love you. I love all of y'all. I say a prayer for y'all in the morning. And I say, "Dear Lord, please fill me so much full of you that there's no room for anything else. And please, Lord, let me see this world through your eyes. Let me hear this world with your ears. And let me love this world with your heart. Please, Jesus." And he has. And I always say, "Please let me be found alive and working in you, giving meat in due season when you return, and me and my family." And now my family and my sons, they're all working in this. They're putting the guides together. They're posting the guides. They're printing the books. We're working in him. And we're giving meat in due season. My wife wants to start a study group, and that's what we want to be found doing. Not putting a roof on, which I could go make $1 million doing that. I'm so good at it. And he says, "No, man, you go build that Bible. You go do this." Yeah, I know. But it says the meek will inherit the earth. Just know that the meek, I saw some fella say what meek was. Meek is a Mustang. And he said the Mustang comes out and it's just wild. It can see out the side of its head, and it's so visioned until it gets meek, until it trains its vision onto one guy and breaks and says, "I'm going to follow this guy." That's when you're meek. That's when you're meek. And I know Elsa made me deaf so I would talk like this. Maybe so I couldn't hear anybody tell me the stories and say, go read it yourself, deaf boy. But I tell you what, watching that closed caption on the TV, when I was watching the Marvel movies, they even give them to you in the movie theaters, when that guy was rising up in the Marvel movies, Bob or Robert, I could hear one of the people in the back, and it said, Jesus Christ. And it printed it on that closed caption with as much force as everything else was going in the movie. And you get to hear a lot of stuff when you read it, because the Word, everything in the beginning was the Word. You read the Word for yourself, because everything was spoken into existence by the Word. And in the beginning was the Word. And the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And you said, ask about Melchizedek earlier. Just know that Melchizedek, they don't use the word Melchizedek in the book of Jubilees. We just read that. They say, to this Torah, there is no end of days and no beginning of days and no mother and no father. And to this word, there is no mother and no father and no end of days. And that's the truth, because in the beginning was the Word. So I'm going to leave y'all on that note. I love y'all so much. I'll see y'all tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. Go download the study guide off of there, and we're going to be reading the Acts of Pilate, the Gospel of Nicodemus, and I'm going to be loving y'all all that I can. I love you. I can't say that good. I love y'all so much, and in Jesus' name, y'all have a blessed day. But I am not ashamed of Christ. I'm not either Afro Queen. I'm not.